Hello, this is Super A64 because my opinion is just that interesting. A couple days ago, me and a coworker were talking about DC versus Marvel, and I told him that I prefer Marvel to DC, even though I like both of them a lot. I think DC has some incredible characters, they put out some incredible work, but I just prefer Marvel to DC. I think their universe is more interesting. I think the characters in it is more interesting. Naturally, a lot of that has to do with the fact that most of the heavy hitters in Marvel were created by one guy. But my coworker, he said that he thinks he likes DC more because DC characters have the edge. And he doesn't mean like the edge in terms of quality. What he means is the edge in terms of mature content. And I don't know where that idea comes from. That somehow DC is more mature or for a more mature audience. I'm not talking about Zack Snyder's contribution to the DC universe. I'm not talking even about what Nolan did. That's a very recent thing. I'm not even talking about comics in the 90s, because a lot of comics, if all comics in the 90s were pretty much, they had that obnoxious 90s edge to them. DC, I don't understand where the idea that DC is more mature comes from. Are you talking about the same DC where Superman had goofy alien adventures in the 60s, or Batman when he wore purple gloves? Are you talking about characters like Green Lantern, who originally their weakness was wood? These characters aren't more mature. I don't understand where that stigma comes from. I think a lot of it has to do perhaps with Marvel characters being a little more marketable towards kids. Yeah, you can slap a Superman or a Batman or a Wonder Woman logo, even though not enough Wonder Woman logos, onto a t-shirt and give it to a kid. But I don't know. I tend to see more Spider-Man action figures than I do Batman or Superman action figures, because he's a non-lethal, colorful, fun character that you can market to kids. And I think that has a lot to do with the perception of these characters being for kids. But yeah, characters like Spider-Man and the Hulk are easy to market to kids. But I also think an angle of it might come from the fact that not DC, but Marvel, their characters are very, very, like, personality based. And that really, wow, 3 minutes into this video, that's the core of this whole Marvel versus DC thing. I think that is really important. Marvel characters have better personalities than any DC character. Think about any Marvel character. Spider-Man, personality traits. He's resourceful, he's funny, he carries a lot of guilt, but he's also compassionate and passionate. Reed Richards is similar. He's passionate about science. He cares about helping people. He cares about his family a lot, but his flaws are he has his head up his ass. He gets distracted easily. A character like Wolverine, who's very stuck up and stubborn in his ways, but he's got this little nugget of compassion inside of him, and it's a very strong piece of him that drives him to be a hero, in spite of the fact that he is a very hard-edged character. DC characters, I don't think any of them really have that. They change from writer to writer, generation to generation. Even their big heavy hitters like Batman, what is his personality? He's resourceful. He's got an iron will. Cool. You could say that about any character. Strangely enough, I think the character in DC with the most persistent and consistent personality is Superman, even though he gets a lot of shit for being not interesting because he's too powerful. He's got he's got a battle with that Messiah complex. He's got a battle with the idea that he has to be an icon while also being a human and things like that. DC, I just don't think has it, and I'm more than willing to be proven wrong if somebody can point me to a consistent thread of personality attached to certain DC characters, but I just don't see it. Let me reiterate, I'm not saying that makes DC characters bad. Some of the most influential works in comics come from DC Comics. Even though Marvel has put out some great stuff, I don't think Marvel has, on the level of DC, Marvel doesn't have necessarily unless it's the X-Men, Marvel doesn't have a Dark Knight Returns. Marvel doesn't have a Death of Superman, or anything that Vertigo put out. Marvel doesn't really do that. But still, at the core of it, they have the character in their characters, which is one of the reasons why you look at what's happening right now with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Endgame now making $2 billion, because people connect to these characters. And that's why I connect to it over DC. That's it. This is always get the name mixed up. This is Super Ray 64 signing off. I will see you next time.